couple days ago, I was scrolling through Pinterest and came across this piece. I thought it looked great. I thought, I can make this. But the problem is that I've never made anything with my own hands completely on my own. And it's time to change that. If I can replicate this piece in my own way so that it looks halfway decent, I'm going to build an entire collection inspired by this look and materials. Original and designed by me. But first, I have to get through this one. So this is my reference image. I really love the combination of the concrete and the wood. I've also designed some different and larger pieces that I want to try, but first, this one has to work. It's not entirely true that I've never built anything. Growing up, I learned a lot from my father as he fixed and built all kinds of things. But I always had him there to guide me through the problems. Now, it's time to find out if I can do that on my own and start building projects that are truly mine. So I've been cleaning up this mold, but it doesn't need a lot of work. I'm just making sure that the parts that touch are flush and don't have any bumps so the concrete doesn't leak. But before we deal with that, I must confess that I printed a second mold because we are going to do a second piece. I'm not sure you can visualize this as nicely, but this will be a small tray in the same style as this with a piece of wood down the side. I live in a small apartment, so space and tools are limited, but anything I buy for this project is an investment I'll use for years to come, so I'm leaving it out of the budget. We are not creating a silicone mold. I've been watching a lot of videos and people always use silicone molds to pour the concrete. However, I don't think it's necessary. I think these layer lines are so thin and small that with a little sanding we can get rid of them and have a nice finish and everything will work out just fine. No, it won't, but we'll get to that. I eventually realized silicone molds are popular because they're so much easier to reuse, and of course I had to learn that lesson the hard way. Now it's time to see if these molds will actually work. I think it's perfect. I'm a designer, so imperfections don't come easy to me. As you will probably notice, that's something I'm constantly trying to make peace with. Let's assemble. Especially with a project like this, concrete is supposed to be imperfect, rough, unpredictable, full of character. That's what I love about it. The challenge is balancing that rawness with the warmth and clean lines of the wood, creating something that feels beautiful and belongs in a home. And while this vase or pen holder might seem simple, building one from scratch involves a lot more than you would think. I don't want to rush it just to say I made it. If I'm going to do it, I want to do it right. And now we just need this. A bit of wax so the concrete releases better from the plastic. And that's really the whole idea behind this channel, to build things I've never built before, try ideas I've never tried, seeing how much I can learn and how far I can push each project while actually enjoying the process. We take ourselves too seriously and spend too much time with our butts on the couch. I want to change that in myself and hopefully bring a few of your butts along too. Okay, everything is set up for us to pour the concrete. A few updates. I taped the mold just in case any concrete wants to come out of the sides. I don't think it will happen, but you never know. So both are taped. And we have everything we need here. We have our cement, we have our sand, we have our plasticizer, our water, our drill, and we have our 3D printed mixer that I am 90% sure will break. But we'll see. Let's do this. So I'm going to put on my gloves. I will also add some plasticizer because from my research it helps a lot with the consistency of the concrete and it also helps with waterproofing and bubbles. Yeah, bubbles. And this is where things start to get a little stressful. In woodworking terms, this is basically the glue up moment. Once the cement is mixed, I can't just take my time anymore. I need to move fairly quickly before it starts setting, while also trying not to make a complete mess. And as you've probably noticed by now, my tool setup is far from ideal, so even the simple steps end up taking longer than it probably should. It's not exactly the smoothest workflow, but that's part of figuring it out. I don't have a real mixer, so that's why I'm using a spoon. I'm afraid that if I use my 3D print now, it will break instantly. Okay, let's try it. Yeah. Back to the spoon. This is getting to a consistency that I like. As I'm using white Portland cement, I think this needs some color to bring it back to that original concrete color, you know what I mean? So for that, I will use iron oxide. I will put some on the lid. I will just add a tiny bit because this gives a lot of coloring. Okay, I think this is ready for the pour. Let's do it. Now, I should say I'm definitely not an expert at this. This is one of my first times working with cement, which is probably why I ended up making the mix a little too solid. Looking back, I probably should have added a bit more water so it could flow through the mold more easily, instead of relying so much on my little wooden stick to push it into every corner. But I left it like this because I've always heard that too much water is bad for concrete. It can make it weaker, cause more shrinkage, and even lead to cracks later on. So in the moment, I thought it was safer to keep the mix a little thicker. After filling the molds, I used my orbital sander to vibrate them and also gave them a few taps just to help bring some of the air bubbles to the surface. Then to finish it off, I used that same small piece of wood to scrape across the top of the mold, remove the excess concrete and try to leave the surface as flat and clean as possible. I think it's done. It was a bit stressful, I'm not gonna lie. I think they look good. I think they will look even better once they're dry. And now I have to clean up this mess. It's going to take me a while. I'll see you tomorrow when we take these things out of the form and see how they look. It's been 24 hours and I believe our concrete is cured enough for demolding. So let's get into it. One thing I find really funny about making videos is how much it changes your perception of time. Even the simplest things like grabbing a tool, setting something up, or realizing you're missing one tiny material and having to leave the house to buy it can take forever. But by the time you see the final video, everything is usually cleaned up, edited and polished, so it can look like the whole process was way easier than it actually was. Not in my videos obviously, because I clearly have no idea what I'm doing, but on YouTube in general that can definitely happen. The truth is, things take time, things go wrong, and as I was about to find out, sometimes they go very wrong. Okay, moment of truth. Let's see if this comes apart easily. Okay, let's try this one. And this is where I started to realize something was wrong. The concrete really didn't want to come out of the mold, and I could already tell this was going to be a challenge. I didn't want to hit it too hard and risk breaking the piece, but at the same time it clearly needed quite a bit of force if I had any chance of getting it loose. I can see the separation between the plastic and the concrete, but I can't take it out. This is a problem. This is a big, big problem. I spent quite a while fighting with this, and honestly, my hopes were getting lower by the minute. I tried everything, screwdrivers, pliers, pulling at the mold from different angles, but nothing seemed to work. And the thought of throwing all that work away and starting over was starting to scare me a bit, especially because I really didn't have time for that. I had to find a way to get this thing out somehow. I give up. We're calling the big guns now. Yeah, so this happened. Maybe I didn't apply enough wax to release the mold. Maybe I should try another mold release. I'm not sure. I haven't broken this one yet. And probably we have to switch strategies. I'm not giving up. Maybe this can be another tray. Okay, so before I give up from this piece, I didn't break it yet, so I had a new idea. What is PLA's weakness? Heat. I will get a hairdryer and we'll see if that works. Finally, I think this is salvageable. I mean, look at this. Yes, it has a few bubbles, mainly on this side. But look, it's not that bad. I think what we do now is a slurry coat, which is another small batch just to cover these holes. After that is just sanding, sealer, and it's ready. I was not as interested in this piece as I was in this piece. This is my original idea and this is what I want to finish. I like this idea as well, and I can show you what it would look like, and maybe I can do it in a future video. But my main focus was always on this piece because that was my original project and that is what I want to finish. I think this is good. This project ended up being a really good first step for me as a maker. And I know it's a very simple object, straight lines, no curves, just a mold and a piece of wood. I don't even know if many people will be interested enough to watch the whole process, but honestly, that's okay. I made this for myself because I have to start somewhere, and I can't pretend I'm an expert from day one. But if you are still here, thank you. It genuinely means a lot, and it helps me keep doing more and hopefully doing it better. And if that makes you even a little bit curious, consider dropping a like and subscribing so you don't miss the next one. Thank you. And now it's time for the wood part. So we have a wooden base, a square, so it should be fairly simple to execute, but watch me blow it. No, I think we're fine on this one. I have this piece of red oak, a lot cheaper than walnut, so of course I saw the walnut in the reference image and I would like to replicate that, but I also think that this red oak as a lighter wood also pairs well with the concrete and it will be a different look. So for this we only have to cut a square basically, and I don't have a pencil. I don't have a pencil. Where is my pencil? And since I don't own any kind of miter saw or circular saw or any kind of saw with a circular blade, I have to get by with my good friend, the jigsaw. I know this isn't ideal, I know this doesn't make square cuts very well, but it's what we got. Let's do it. And the sanding is done, so I'll clean this up real quick and we'll move on to finishing the wood. It's time for everyone's favorite part, which is finishing this wood. I'm using pure tung oil, which will give this color a really nice pop. I also need your help with this finish. Tung oil gives the wood a really beautiful color and it's easy to reapply when needed. But the smell is incredibly strong and it seems to stay on everything it touches. It's not bad, it's just very intense. I've seen a lot of people using hard wax oil instead, but I don't know any specific brands. Do you know of a good, affordable one that doesn't leave such a strong smell? Once again, it's the next day and our concrete is cured enough to be sanded smooth. Again, this is not going to be perfect. There are going to be some blotches, some uneven spots, but I'm okay with that because a few imperfections give the concrete an authentic look. And I'm not looking for perfection anyways. I'm looking for a professional finish, and I think we're going to achieve that anyway. And here it is after sanding it smooth. Keep in mind, this will look lighter once it's dry. Right now it's soaking wet, so I think it looks really good. It's super smooth. We have some imperfections, of course. This little pin here, this here, but I don't think it's worth fixing. It's gonna take a lot of time, and I like it. I think it's perfect. Now it's just applying a sealer to make this waterproof, and we glue it to the base, and it's done. For the concrete, I use this sealer I found at my local hardware store. I couldn't find that typical milky looking one, which I think would probably have been better, but it still does the job. It protects the concrete from water, it just doesn't really change the look of it at all. Then I added a bit of glue to the base, lined up the edges as best as I could, applied some pressure, and now we just wait. This piece didn't turn out exactly like the reference, and honestly, I'm glad. It turned out my way. And even if I spent more than I should have, these tools and materials are now part of future projects. And that's how this will keep going. New problems, new possibilities, and more ways to turn ideas into real things. And you thought we were done here? Not a chance. Yes, I remade the tray. Once I figured out a somewhat decent way of getting the mold out, I knew I had to give it another try. Along the way, I also tested a few new things, like this spray filler, to try and hide the seams a little better. At that point, it was just a matter of putting my head down and focusing, because I really wanted to show you how this tray, which I actually designed myself, goes together with the vase. And with a new strategy for the mold, this one came out with basically no effort at all. I might even be able to reuse it, which is kind of funny considering how badly the first one went. I also got to use my 3D printer to make a template for the router, so I could cut that recess into the wood. And honestly, for this kind of thing, it's incredibly useful. I already see myself using it constantly for all sorts of little problems and ideas. These two actual pieces are for sale, in case anyone wants them for their home. For now, they'll only be available on my Vinted page because I'm in Portugal, and shipping something like this too far, especially to places like the US, just doesn't really make sense yet. It's more of a symbolic thing, for anyone who wants a little piece of the channel's first video, and it also helps support future projects. For now, it's a one-time thing while I figure out a better way to send you guys stuff. I had so much fun making this, and we're only just getting started. Stick with me and we'll make some fun stuff together. See you next time.